Unless your name is Patrick Starr and you've been living under a rock, you must have heard about Amazon Studios' famed New World game. New World's 2-week beta that recently ended on August 2nd amassed more than 1 million players who collectively played over 16 million total hours. That's roughly 666,667 days. And that's 1,826 years. If we were to take that from now and fast forward it back, it would have been 195 AD, which is the time when there were Roman emperors riding horses. But for those of you who don't know what New World is or the hype around it, let's get into it. Now you may ask, what even is an MMORPG? Well, lucky for you, I'm in the mood for a history lesson. So dictionary.com defines an MMORPG, or a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, as any story-driven online video game in which a player, taking on the persona of a character in a virtual or fantasy world, interact with a large number of players. So in layman terms, it's an online role-playing game. Now the boom in the audience are asking, what's a role-playing game? Well, an RPG is a video game genre where the player controls the actions of a character, immersed in some well-defined world, usually involving some form of character development in a way of recording or improving their statistics along the way. You've probably seen or played a few RPGs in your lifetime. Some of the most notable ones are the Witcher series, the Elder Scrolls series, the Fallout series, Star Wars Old Republic, the Assassin's Creed series, and the Borderlands series, and so much more. But the difference in an MMORPG and an RPG lies in the MMO part. So which is essentially the difference between a solo or a squad journey like in Borderlands is the difference between that and you're sharing a world with thousands of your closest friends or enemies. The MMORPG scene began to kick off in 1997 when EA released Ultima Online. And this is when the term MMORPG was coined by Richard Garriott, the creator of Ultima Online, in 1997. Then in 1999, EverQuest defined many of the other characteristics we find in an MMORPG today. If Ultima Online started the genre, EverQuest refined it. EverQuest features 16 different races and classes. It digs deep into the fantasy roots of MMORPGs and lets players play anything from frog necromancers to ogre shamans. And EverQuest also popularized common concepts we see in games today, such as grinding and raiding, world chat, and things like that. To fast forward, in 2001 came Anarchy Online, which expanded the genre from being just fantasy games into a sci-fi genre. And then following that came the Dark Age of Camelot in 2001, which redefined world PvP that we know it as today in their realm versus realm combat system. In the following year, shortly after, Final Fantasy XI, EVE Online, RuneScape, and of course the infamous World of Warcraft came into the scene. After World of Warcraft's famed success, the MMORPG genre saw huge developments. At its peak in 2010, WoW had 12 million subscribers. If WoW made up a US state, it would be the 7th largest state. Or if you would call it a country, the subscriber amount, it would be the 77th largest country, right ahead of Belgium and Cuba. Since then, there's been huge hits revolutionizing the MMORPG space with action combat games like Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, Terror, and more. But there's also been many MMORPGs who have failed and died. Some of them are, WildStar, City of Heroes, Club Penguin, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, and more. The problem with so many of these MMORPGs that failed or died off is that there's a huge cost of building an MMORPG in terms of server costs, staffing a dev team, the cost to acquire the players. They all combine to create a huge barrier of entry. Estimates are it costs between 150 to 500 million to create an MMORPG. Thus, it's creating MMORPGs never making it to the live stage. There's many who go in development and never make it to the real stage just because of the amount of costs and the ability you have to get a networking effect within MMORPGs. So the sheer cost of building an RPG and the need for the networking effect has caused problems for many studios. But Amazon Studios is hoping to take a crack into the space. Daddy Bezos sure has the funding for it, so we will see if that's enough to make it succeed. Let's find out more about this game, and then I'll let you know my thoughts on its future state. So next up is the pay system. So what defines a pay system for an MMORPG? So to recruit some of the huge costs to develop an MMORPG, their cost structure is different from many other video game genres. So in total, there are 3 main MMORPG pay systems. The first is being free-to-play. So this is the free-to-play genre, which essentially costs $0 to play the game and its content. There are variations to this genre. Some games are base free-to-play and you have to pay for additional content. Others just have in-game stores for boost or just cosmetic purposes. Free-to-play often gets a bad stigma of having a pay-to-win model. where it's labeled as free, but the more you spend in the game, the more powerful your character becomes. Some other stigmas around free-to-play games is that some of them feel undone or unpolished. Some of the games that fall in this genre are Neverwinter, Lord of the Rings Online, RuneScape. Another genre is subscription-based games. So this is a cost structure based on a monthly fee you have to pay in order to play the game, and you usually have to buy the base game and any expansions that come along with it. Some examples of this are World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. The third main genre is the buy once genre. So this is the genre that many other video game genres fall under, but only a few MMORPGs fall under. So it's essentially you pay for the game once and you have access to it forever with no subscription needed. In this genre, it's important to be aware of in-game stores that offer things other than cosmetics, because if they start offering boosts and things like that, it can lead to a pay-to-win model. Some example of games in this buy once phrase is Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, and New World, of course. And there's also some variations. So there's a buy once plus subscription option. So for example, Elder Scrolls Online, you buy the game and then you can choose to subscribe for different benefits and things like that. Other ones are free-to-play but subscription. So it's something like RuneScape. It's a free-to-play game, but you can subscribe and get access to additional content, skills, and things like that. Along with the fee structure, many MMORPGs have expansions that come out every couple of years. The goal of expansion is to provide new content to the consumer, and that content usually involves new zones, dungeons, raids, possibly some races, some classes, and much more. Now, New World's model is a buy-to-play system or a buy-once system with a retail cost of $40 or $50 for the deluxe edition. And once purchasing the game, there's no subscription fees or anything like that. There is an in-game store, which as of now is purely cosmetic. But Amazon Studios have gone back and forth between adding in some features that could start shifting the game to pay to win. Some XP boost, quality of life things like that. But we're hoping for the best that Bezos keeps his greedy, grubby hands off our beloved New World. Moving on to the next topic is the combat system of MMORPGs. So there are two primary combat systems. The first being the historic way, which is a tab target system. So a tab target system simply means an ability is something that you have a target in order for you to use that as a skill. This refers to the ability you have to press your tab key or something to lock into a specific target. Some examples of games that use this are World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings Online, Star Wars Online as well. Now, there's a newer system of combat for MMORPGs, which is the action combat system, which is what a lot of new MMORPGs are going to. It's a combat system that allows players to manually utilize complex movements like dodging, evading, and having to point to hit their targets. So some MMORPGs that fall in this system are, Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls, and of course New World Online. Specifically, New World's action combat system is intense, as there's less aim assist when using long-range weapons such as the Ice Gauntlet, the different staffs, bows, or muskets in the game. Whereas other action combat systems like Elder Scrolls Online, they pick up the target pretty easily, or you can hold down to attack, things like that. But the New World combat system is a lot more focused on aiming, in my opinion, and kind of skill shots and things like that. And in addition, many of the skills in New World that you have to unlock, you have to aim them a certain direction or a certain area, or be within a certain range. So its New World system is a lot of focus on that skill and that aiming in the combat system. So overall, the combat system of New World is intricate, requiring a higher skill level than your typical MMORPG, but the gameplay experience is rewarding, to say the least. Now I want to give some background on the producer, developer, and some of the timeline of this game. So some background on who is behind New World is that they're being developed by Amazon Studios and Double Helix Games, and are being published by Amazon Studios / Amazon.com. So in terms of developer, Double Helix was founded in 2007 and then acquired by Amazon Studios in 2014. So prior to being acquired, the studio had developed games such as Silent Hill, Green Lantern, Rise of the Manhunters, and Killer Instinct. Amazon Studios was founded in 2012 and has since published games like The Crucible, Tales from Deep Space, Till Morning's Light, and they're currently now working on publishing Lost Ark in 2021, which is a game that came out in Korea in 2018, as well as they're developing and publishing New World this year, hopefully. So Amazon Studios also has other projects in mind that they've thought of, such as a Lord of the Rings MMO, which they recently announced that they've canceled. So Amazon Studios is a newer studio. They're kicking off, picking up some steam, and adding some titles to their repertoire. So next up is the timeline of New World. Since it's been in development since 2016, with an original release date of May 2020. Sadly, it got delayed to August 2020 and then to spring of 2021 per COVID and other factors, like then reworking the game from being a strong focus on PvP to more of a balance between having a PvP and PvP aspect. So because of those factors, New World pushed back their launch date again after the most recent beta from August 31st to September 28th to focus on fixing some of the issues that arose in the beta. These delays have caused some concern amongst gamers, assuming frustration, concerns, is this the next Cyberpunk? Others are happy that they're taking the extra time to release a well-polished game per the feedback from the beta, and they realized they needed more than 1 month. They needed 2 months to fix some of these issues. But the question that haunts many of us, I know, are will it get delayed again? Because who knows if we can make it. So overall, my opinion is delays are never good for the brand of the game. It could be poor project management, but if in turns it means we get a better game out of it, then I'm all for it. So although many of us are now stuck with binging YouTube videos on New World or watching Twitch reruns, as many of my fellow Redditors and r/New World game folks have talked about the crack-like addiction this game can give, we'll all be running on low fumes as our 2-week beta does trickle out of our gaming systems. So to wrap it all up, as I said earlier, I will answer, do I believe New World has what it takes to survive or become the next big MMORPG? So I'll answer with a 4 out of 5 rating, and that rate means more likely. So more likely than not, it can be survive as well as be the next big MMORPG. The reason for that being is the game runs on a beautiful engine with great graphics in an immersive world that makes you feel like you're really there, which is something many games don't get right, so it's great to see this. This game also has an awesome and engaging combat system that challenges you and is tougher than a lot of the other games out there. And this game is also backed by a studio with more money than they would know what to do with. So the only issue I see is long term is a lack of story / quest variety / in-game content. Because they did make the shift from PvP to PvE, they haven't had as much time to develop this content, so some of the quests and the story just aren't great. The quests seem kind of repetitive, go collect this, go collect that. But because the world of combat is so fun and it's just so addicting, it makes it not so bad in the long run for me, at least. My hope is, with future patches and expansions, they can address this issue, and maybe, just maybe, this can be the long-awaited WoW killer. We'll see. So, thanks for watching, and please leave a comment below on what you love most about New World, or if you think it will get delayed again. Please like, subscribe, or share, and support me and my channel. So thanks, Boom Scott, for coming to my TED Talk. And as always, Dan and out.